Get ready to immerse yourself in the rugged beauty of Denali National Park. Home to North America's tallest peak, this park is a treasure trove of captivating landscapes, rich history, intriguing geology, plentiful wildlife, and countless opportunities for unforgettable sightseeing. Come along with us as we show you our favorite spots for sightseeing, hiking, and photographing Denali. We'll learn about the park's history and geology and even see how it transforms in the winter. We'll take you on the bus tour into the park, the only way up to a certain point because, well, this happened. And we might even share with you our favorite free RV camping spot. Get ready to dive in and experience Denali National Park. Let's begin by zooming out. Here is the great state of Alaska, and here's Denali National Park and Preserve. Spanning roughly 6.1 million acres, it's about the size of New Hampshire, and the third largest national park in the United States. That's where we're headed now. Now here's the thing, some of our favorite spots to see and photograph Denali aren't actually in the park itself. They are on the way to the park, so that's where we're taking you first. Our journey starts here on the Turn Again Arm near Anchorage, and we will end here just outside Denali at this awesome free RV camp spot. Sit back and take it in, because this is a heck of a day for a drive across Alaska.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. Honey, you are my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. And I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise. That with you I feel alive. You will be the last one I think about.
Time flies when you're driving through incredible scenery. Before we know it, we're pulling into excellent sightseeing spot number 1, the Denali Viewpoint South. The last time we were here, it was a winter wonderland, buried under feet of snow, and we were the only ones here. It is so interesting to see the difference between those two seasons.
Wow, definitely a completely different place in the summer.
And there it is, Denali, the tallest mountain in North America. Formerly called Mount McKinley, Denali soars to an astounding height of 20,310 feet above sea level. There's a saying around here that those who see Denali are part of the 30% club, that 70% of visitors never even see the mountain, as it is so often shrouded in clouds. Everyone here today is now among those lucky few, and we are so happy that our 2 guests just joined the club. In Koyukon, an Athabascan dialect native to the region, Denali translates to the tall one, a fitting name for this majestic peak. Mountain elevations are traditionally measured from sea level to summit, but if you measure from base to summit, Denali actually stands a mile taller than Everest. If you're a photographer, this stop is a must for capturing that perfect shot of Denali. There are 2 viewing platforms here. The upper one provides a sweeping view of the Chulitna River, and we are very curious to see how different it looks compared to its winter form. It is so cool to be here at such a different time of year. Completely different world. Incredible. Denali is the crown jewel of the Alaska Range, stretched out before us today in its full glory. The Alaska Range curves like a giant sickle across the face of Alaska. Glaciers snake out of the heart of the range like Medusa's hair, drastically shaping the landscape, carving deep U-shaped valleys and fueling sediment-laden rivers that braid their way across the land. Braided rivers are actually quite fascinating. They form this way because the river is constantly seeking new pathways around the gravel bars that it itself creates. Why are so many rivers in Alaska chock full of sediments? Alaska is a land of glaciers, and think of a glacier like a giant mill, chewing up and pulverizing the land in its path, sending all of that gravel, sand, and silt downstream. Curious what this landscape looks like in the winter? We're back on the highway headed to that second great sightseeing spot. It's a short 28 miles and half an hour's drive up the road. Welcome to the Denali Viewpoint North, another spot completely transformed from its snow-laden winter version. This spot provides another stellar panorama of the Alaska Range, which is part of a fascinating story. So Earth's crust is broken into fragments called plates. Here in Alaska, the Pacific Plate is sliding beneath the North American Plate. This is called a subduction zone. Now, throughout Earth's history, the Pacific Plate has had hitchhikers on its back, large blocks of crust called terrains. When they hit that subduction zone, they don't slide under, but rather plow into the North American Plate, eventually fusing to it. This has happened over and over again, each new terrain plowing into the last, piling up like groceries at the end of a checkout line. This is the story of Alaska's life. Terrain after terrain conveyed north by the Pacific Plate, each new arrival crushing into its northern neighbors and adding to the Great Squeeze. Fault systems form where they shove up and over each other, tilting and buckling in a slow-motion car crash that thrusts an impressive array of mountain ranges straight into the sky. That is the skinny on how this, the 10th tallest mountain range in the world, formed and continues to uplift today, fueled by pressure put on by the latest actor in this story, the Yakutat terrain, who is currently, as we speak, in a head-on collision with Alaska. Of course, this doesn't answer that key question, why is Denali in particular so tall? The answer is really cool, and we'll get to that when we're there in the park, so let's get over there already. We are off to that awesome free RV spot that we mentioned before. The sun's going down and we do gotta sleep after all. The spot is tucked here, just 17 miles south of the park entrance and right within the spine of the Alaska Range. We're on our way. As we drive north, we take in this midnight sunset. It is mid-July, which means the sun rises around 4 a.m. and sets at midnight. In fact, the nights never really get dark anymore, just a couple hours of twilight, and then the sun rises again. We finally arrived to a 1,500-foot stretch of pavement just off the highway, hugging the Nenana River. There's just enough time to park our old schoolie and take in the last gasps of this blazing sunset. Denali National Park, here we come. Fun fact, did you know that there's only one road going into Denali National Park? More on that in a bit. Our first order of business is to stop at the Denali Visitor Center, and we're so glad that we did. The Visitor Center is really well put together, and we learned so much, like the sheer amount of wildlife that call the park home. Animals like Dall sheep, and moose, even wolves and caribou. We wonder what we'll see out there, especially when we go far into the park on the Denali bus. We also learn here that between 1903 and 1921, 23,000 ounces of gold were mined from the Kantishna Hills deep within the park. The visitor center is also just the perfect place to bring the little ones, to get them excited and pumped for what they are about to see out there in the park. Into the park we go on that one single road. Construction of the park road was started in 1923 and completed 15 years later. It stretches an impressive 92 miles into sheer wilderness, transitioning from 15 miles of nice 2-lane pavement to 16 miles of 2-lane gravel to 61 miles of rustic single-track gravel road. But get this, you actually can't drive past mile 15. Why? You'll see in a bit. In the meantime, want to see something trippy? Just look at the difference 4 months make in Alaska. Unfortunately, Dave isn't feeling well and isn't able to join us for these days in the park. Last time we were here, we were post-holing it through about 4 feet of snow, maybe even more than that. It was crazy. We were here for a picnic, and we are here for a picnic again in a very different world. It's a completely different world. So cool to see the 2 seasons and to be able to compare them like this. We are at the Mountain Vista Interpretive Trail and Picnic Area. We love this spot. Accessible to all, this is a great place to catch some incredible views and learn a little something along the way. Here we brush up against more history of this park and the stories it holds. The park was established in 1917 as Mount McKinley National Park. Since its inception, it has grown in popularity among visitors. Tourists began arriving by rail in 1922, the park road construction began in 1923, and while that was underway, railway tourism grew as Savage Camp became the gateway to the park. It offered accommodations, meal service, and a growing menu of tours. Savage Camp was located right here. Now it's an open meadow surrounded by 360 degrees of mountain views and the ever-tantalizing chance to see one of the wildlife rock stars of Denali. Denali National Park is home to approximately 1,800 moose. These animals are big, standing 5 to 6.5 feet tall at the shoulder, weighing between 700 and 1,400 pounds. Moose breed in late September and early October, and the mamas give birth about 8 months later in late May and early June. We are here in mid-July. Mountain Vista really is a must-stop. The loop trail is short and sweet, the views are sweeping, and it is so beautiful that such a conscious effort was made to provide a wilderness experience that everyone can enjoy. This is right where we had our picnic in the wintertime. It's really cool to be right in the same spot. Our next stop is right up the road and one of the most popular trails in the park. It is also right at mile 15 and where the park road officially closes to us, or more accurately, to our car. We luck out and get parking just like we did at Mountain Vista, though it's actually recommended to take the free shuttle to both spots because space is so limited.
Expect to encounter grizzly bears in this area. Stay at least 300 yards away from the bears at all times. Never approach a bear.
We are headed out to do the Savage River Loop Trail along a beautiful classic braided river. Let's head on out. Now this trail tells quite an Earth history story, the plot twists written into the land. So let's read this landscape together. Start by taking note of the gentle sloping walls of the valley. They are anything but steep. Notice how the river is braided, and look at the U shape of this valley. If you've been traveling with us for a while, you know exactly what this means. But now, watch how the river changes. We start to find rocks that look really cool. Shimmery and layered, Anthony comes up with the best name for them. Shiny glitter wrinkle rocks. suddenly the valley looks quite different. Its walls are steep and the valley as a whole has taken on a V shape. Gone is the lazy braided river. It is now focused and fast, one single channel cutting into the valley floor. And the wrinkle rocks are everywhere. They were once horizontal sedimentary and volcanic layers. Now they look like this. There's only one recipe that will deform rock like this, bending it instead of breaking, transforming it to a new type of rock altogether. Heat, pressure, and time. Oh wow, Anthony, look at the wrinkle rocks.
Look at those rocks over there.
The Savage River Loop is leading us through some of the oldest rock formations in North America. They are by far the oldest in the park. And the only reason we can see them is thanks to the erosive power of Savage River and that uncanny shift in valley shape that we noticed earlier. A glacier once reached all the way to the start of the trail, carving a classic U-shaped glacial valley. But this part of the valley hasn't seen a glacier in 2 million years, allowing plenty of time for Savage River to slice decisively downward, carving the classic V shape of river valleys, and exposing this ancient rock for us to explore. Fun fact, now that you are well versed in the history of Alaska's terrains, you may be fascinated to know that the rocks exposed here are part of the Yukon-Tanana terrain, which plowed into the North American plate about 225 million years ago. The terrain itself formed in an ancient ocean basin when all the continents formed a supercontinent called Rodinia. It's the next day and we're back for more. This time we're going as far into the park as they are letting us go. Did you know that the majority of Denali National Park can only be accessed by the park's shuttle bus system? It is the longest continuously running shuttle system in the National Park Service. Since the very beginning, buses have been used in the park, as were personal vehicles. But over time, the narrow, rustic park road got more and more congested, so in 1972, travel beyond mile 15 was restricted to buses only. Since then, the only way to get past the barricade at mile 15 has been on the park bus. And we're in. We keep our eyes out for wildlife. After all, Denali is home to 39 species of mammals, 169 species of birds, 14 species of fish, and 1 amphibian. Want to know the one thing you can't find here? Not a single reptile. Our first sighting is a ptarmigan. We've always been curious what they looked like. All 3 species of North American ptarmigan live in Denali, and the willow ptarmigan is the Alaska state bird. We're not sure if these are willow ptarmigan or not, but they are so cute. Good timing. This is our one and only pit stop until our final destination. After this point, the 2-lane gravel road will narrow to 1 lane. We're not back on the road for 5 minutes before... Yeah? Those little white dots on the mountainside are Dall sheep. These impressive cliff climbers thrive in rugged alpine settings that demand sure footing as they navigate sheer cliffs with remarkable agility. As we drive further into the wilderness, the landscape captivates us all. We are all eyes fixed to the glass, just taking it in. Then quite suddenly, we are here. We are at the East Fork River at mile 43 of the park road, and from here, we can go no further. Because about 2 miles up the road, something monumental has been happening. This is the Pretty Rocks Landslide. It has been known as an active slide area, but it was stable, with only minor cracks in the road requiring maintenance every few years or so. But in 2014, that all changed. The rate of slide had been a couple inches per year, but between 2014 and 2017, it increased to inches per month. By 2018, inches per day. And by 2021, 0.65 inches per hour. This was the movement from July 2021 to April 2022. The slide is underlain by ice-rich permafrost and frozen clay bedrock after that. But Alaska has warmed significantly in recent years, and the permafrost is in trouble. Needless to say, the park road has been closed since 2021. The Park Service is currently working on a bridge solution and hopes to reopen the road by 2026. So for the time being, the East Fork River is as far as buses can go. The bus we came in on heads out. We'll catch another one back. That's how the green buses work. Hop on, hop off. You can meet them at official bus stops, or you can just flag them down along the road. The tan buses are narrated tours that are not hop on, hop off. They're great if you want a guided experience, but not if you want independence to hike and sightsee at your own pace. We relish the opportunity to go at our own pace, so we stay to explore the area and see what we can see out on this braided river.
Take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot.
Oh, the things you can do with rocks. You can throw them, you can study them, and you can even balance them.
Finding the center of gravity.
We spent summers catching fireflies and winters on our skates. One big smile across my face. We used to dance our way to church on Sundays. Mama set the pace.
As we commune with this magnificent place, so important to the Athabascan people who have called it home for generations, we can't help but wonder, why was Denali ever named McKinley? The mountain was first called McKinley following an article published in the New York Sun by a local prospector who was a fan of then-President-elect McKinley. The name stuck among the U.S. public despite pushback from most Alaskans and even founders of the park. In 1980, the park was renamed to what it is today, and finally, in 2015, the mountain itself was officially given back the name that it always had, Denali. And speaking of the tall one, let's come back to that final question. Why is it so gosh darn tall? See this bend in the Denali fault system? Now look at the location of Denali. This is not a coincidence. Imagine all the pressure put on by the Yakutat terrain plowing into Alaska. The rocks right here are literally backed into a corner and have nowhere to go except up. What's more, Denali is different from its mountain neighbors. While they are made of softer rock that erodes easily, Denali is one huge hunk of hard, crystalline granite. It was once a magma chamber that cooled slowly beneath the earth. All the pushing and shoving of Alaska's ongoing terrain car crash has uplifted this granite beast into the sky. While glaciers and the freeze-thaw cycle make quick work of its neighbors, Denali is loath to be brought to its knees by erosion. So it stands tall, currently rising faster than it erodes. It's amazing what you can experience in one little patch of this massive place. A caribou neighbor saunters by, and we spot many an Arctic ground squirrel. These hardy little guys hibernate for 7 to 8 months, during which time their body temperature drops below freezing, the lowest ever measured in any mammal. They are out in force now, fattening up as quickly as they can. Soon our ride is here, slowly making its way to us on that single-track gravel. Kudos to the bus drivers of Denali, by the way. We know what it's like to drive a big rig on narrow roads, and it ain't always easy. As if to send us off with a bang, we are blessed with 2 final sightings. Caribou are native to Alaska, and the state is home to 32 herds. 7 of those herds number 30,000 to 325,000. The rest of the herds are smaller, with 3,000 or less. The Denali herd has around 1,760 caribou, according to the Park Service. As we drive back, we lament that we never saw bears. They must be enjoying the peace and quiet on the other side of the pretty rocks. But we do see a bull moose, nice and up close. It's a good thing we're in the bus because these creatures, while majestic, are fast and aggressive when you get too close. What a pair of days in Denali National Park. We have seen and learned so much about this unparalleled place and its awe-inspiring mountain. Now, if only we could get a little closer. Maybe even see it from the skies? And with that little clue left hanging in the air, we leave you here and we will see you next time on Art We There Yet? Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a like.
Subscribe to our channel.
Send us a comment below. And for exclusive content and a behind the scenes view of the Art We There Yet journey,
Join us on Patreon.
see you over on Patreon.